The following video was made possible by EA Game Changers. Hi everyone, and welcome to my overview of The Sims 4 Moschino Stuff. With this pack, you get clothing from the Sims and Moschino capsule collection and a few other Moschino collections, a new freelance photography career, and new furniture and decor. When this video is going up, the pack isn't out yet because I did get an early access code, but it will be out on August 13th. And with this video, I'm going to be showing all the Create a Sim and Build and Buy mode objects, and going over the new gameplay that comes with this pack. Over in Create a Sim, we have 3 new hairstyles for female Sims. The first one is my personal favorite, the second one has more of a fashion-forward feel to it, and the last one is this adorable curly hairstyle. Next we have the plum bob earrings that were from the Sims and Moschino capsule collection. I would not pay $200 to have these in real life, but at least my Sims can have them for a bit cheaper. Next we have 4 tops. The first one is this cute jacket that comes in a few different color swatches, and there is also a matching skirt for it. Next we have this Freezer Bunny Moschino shirt, and I believe this is the same as a jacket that we got in a patch for free. And that llamacorn swatch of that shirt, I don't really like as much. For some reason, it just looks kind of off to me, and it just looks sort of cheap and grainy, like the image looks like it's poor quality. So I wasn't really a huge fan of that. And then here's the matching skirt for that first jacket that we saw. And here are these quilted pants to match this jacket. And this did only have 2 swatches to it. And the skirt only has 1 swatch, which is unfortunate. But I believe that was because of the limitations of working with a real life brand, because they were trying to not put anything into the game that wasn't an actual swatch in real life. So that did unfortunately lead to some items having only 1 or 2 swatches, which definitely made this pack feel very light in terms of Create a Sim, which I was not expecting, because the whole thing with this pack is that they're partnering with a clothing brand. So I was expecting that this pack would mostly Create a Sim items and then a few Build and Buy mode objects, but this pack was actually majority Build and Buy mode, and I found Create a Sim to be fairly light. I think in terms of items, it's about on par with other packs, but just due to the limited swatches, it felt like really not that much. I'm personally not too bummed out by that, because while I do like making Sims, I'm definitely more of a builder. So I am glad I have more objects than Create a Sim items, and I didn't like that some of the items had Moschino written out on it. I know that they definitely want their brand on this, but I don't like having English lettering in the game. Like that first jacket that I showed here, the one that came in the blue and orange swatches, I thought it looked fine for the front, and then I turned it around and saw Moschino big letters on the back, and then didn't like it nearly as much. Some of the Create a Sim items in this pack I do like, but a lot of it I could do without. So for me, the Create a Sim is my least favorite part of this pack. There wasn't anything new for children and toddlers, which I wasn't that surprised by. And these shoes are the last item that came with the pack, so we just had the style looks for male Sims. And then we'll be on to Build and Buy mode, which I definitely liked more than Create a Sim. We have 2 new wallpapers, and they're in this futuristic high-end style that is different than anything else we have in the game, and I actually like them. And I think there are some interesting ways you could use them. Next we have new windows and doors, and they're in this industrial loft kind of a style. And I really like these. They're once again different than anything else we have in the game, and I think they'll be incredibly useful for making converted factory type builds. So I cannot wait to use these more in the future, and I love that you have this variant with the window open. I think that's really neat. Next we have a living chair and a new sofa, and they come in a nice mixture of swatches. So you have plain ones and then these interesting patterns, and it's in once again this futuristic loft kind of a style. And some of the items from this pack definitely reminded me of the high-end loft stuff pack that came with The Sims 3. It's kind of in that same like loft, like modern loft style, and this shelf with all the photography equipment on it is really neat. So that's something that will be nice to put up in a photo studio. We also have this tripod and a new camera, and you are able to attach cameras from the other packs to that. We also have this really cool word bubble mirror, and then this nice modern wall art, and that painting there is really cool. There's also this collage wall picture frame, and then some digital picture frames which you can use to cycle through different pictures. Next we have some clutter items, including this bear book holder and this magazine stack. And I think part of why I like the Build and Buy mode objects that came with this pack more is that I don't think they were as limited with them. I could be wrong, but I don't think these were supposed to be a recreation of some Moschino furniture collection. I think these were items that they more so made to fit with the theme and balance out the pack and go with the general idea of a modern photo studio. So because of that, they may have been a bit less limited with these items, but here you can see one of the photo backdrops, and there were those animated backdrops that you just saw there. And we also have these lights that you can use to light up your photo studio and get some key lighting, so those are fun to play with. And lastly, we have a bookshelf and this clothing rack. Next, we have a couple of new rooms. This first one here is more of a lounge, and I am showing all of the swatches this time. Usually I just show one of them, but this time I edited in a way that you can see the different variants that these rooms come in. And this one is more of a photo studio using both of the new backdrop items, which I will talk more about shortly. Moving on to the gameplay, there is of course the new freelance photography career. You find this the same way you do the other freelancing careers. You select the freelancing option when you're picking a job, and from there you pick the fashion photographer option specifically. And once you're in the career, you can start choosing your gigs, and each of the gigs will tell you different parameters, such as the pose type they want, the outfit type they want, such as everyday wear, formal wear, swimwear, etc., and the different age groups you want. Some of them will have multiple of those parameters, some of them will have only one. So you will have more freedom with certain gigs. And when you go to take a photo, you will have the options to pick different pose types. You can pick options such as goofy, thoughtful, romantic, and you're able to cycle through those different poses, so you don't have to exit out and then go back in to take a picture to get the different poses anymore. So that makes things so much more easy and just makes it a lot easier to get these jobs complete. And once you take your picture, you do send it for approval, and then in 1 to 2 days they will send you back your picture in the mail. And then from there you can submit it to Fashion Instagram or Simstagram to complete the gig. The tripod item does come with some new interactions, such as being able to take a picture with toddlers and being able to take pictures with your Sims pets, so you can have them take pictures with their cats and small dogs and big dogs. So this item just makes it so much easier to furnish your Sims homes with more personalized images. And it does also have the added benefit of preventing your photos from being poor quality and blurry. So if you use this, no more blurry photos, no more gnomes popping through. So this is a great way to prevent that, and I believe it does do that with any of the cameras, even the cheaper ones. And you can also use it to take pictures of groups of Sims. So now you're not locked to just taking pictures of 2 Sims at a time. You can take pictures of groups of 2, groups of 3. You can also take pictures of different age groups together. So that is great as well. That is something I've been wanting for so long, and this is a bit different than the photo studio that came with Get to Work because the tripod is not locked to the backdrops. So you can position it anywhere in the room you want. You can take pictures at different angles. So there's a lot more you can do with this. It's not nearly as limited as that photo studio was. There's also the new photo marker that you can use to position your Sims wherever you want for pictures. So you can use this to position multiple Sims together for group photos, so you don't have to deal with them, with them going where you don't want them to when you take the picture. And this item, along with the tripod, is portable, so you can use it to take good pictures wherever you want in the world. I also wanted to mention that you do get some new poses for pictures with this pack, because when you cycle through the different poses, there will be some that you saw previously when using the Get to Work photo station, and there are some new ones that are thrown in through this pack. Onto the backdrops we got. The photo drape is a very simple one. There's not any interaction you can use to change the backdrop of it. You can only do that through going into buy mode and changing the swatch. It's just kind of there as a backdrop for any photos your Sims are taking. There is the really neat animated backdrop though, and you are able to use an interaction to cycle through different choices for this, so there are some really cool options, and as I said, they are animated, so you can actually see movement in the background. So there are a lot of really neat things you can do with this one. There are the 2 new picture frames that we got with this pack. The first one is the collage wall frame, which you can place 3 photos into. It'll fit 2 small photos and 1 medium one. And then there's a digital photo frame, which allows you to cycle through different photos. And you are allowed to choose the amount of time you want it to take to cycle through those photos. And you fill both of them by just dragging photos from your inventory into them. I think that's about it for the gameplay. Overall, I have mixed feelings about this pack. As I said, I'm not really a huge fan of the creative sim that came with it. There's some things that I do like, but a lot of it I could do without. And I think that is a mixture of the items just not really being my personal taste, and also the limitations that come with working with a real-life brand. But I did like a lot of the build and buy mode objects, and I could see myself using those a lot. I also think the fashion photography career is a neat addition to a stuff pack. We haven't had a career or this much gameplay with other stuff packs, so that is really neat. Although there is the question of whether or not the stuff pack was the best place for these upgrades to the photography career, and there were some upgrades that we did get with the most recent patch, but Not all of it was through that patch, some of it is exclusively through this pack, but putting this aside, I think it is really neat. I like the new options that you get. So for me, this pack is somewhere in the middle as far as stuff packs go. It's not the worst, but it's definitely not the best either. But hopefully this video is helpful for those of you who are deciding whether you want to get this pack. So I'm going to go ahead and leave off here. So if you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching and bye.